Microsoft has surpassed Apple as the world's largest company by market cap. So the great thing is that we posted that like a week ago that Microsoft was only $100 billion away from passing Apple in market cap. And at that time, there's a lot of people in the comments that was like laugh out loud, only 100 billion. Like, yeah. But it's a teachable moment as far as for corporate finance and how things that can look like a large number to some is a very small number to somebody else. Yeah. Perception is everything, and that's the thing about life. One person's mountain is another person's hill, right? One person's trash is another man's treasure. Mm-hmm. We could go down the line here. So,
no pun intended.
Mm-hmm. Perception is a very important. Perception is a very important thing. So, 100 billion, yeah, to the average person, to me, like as I'm looking at it from a bank account standpoint, if I was looking at it from that standpoint, then yeah, I'd be like, oh yeah, $100 billion, that's crazy. But I think it's an important part of the job is to educate people. So we wasn't talking about it as far as like in somebody's net worth.
Just in our Bank of America account.
Market cap.
Tomorrow I'll have 100 million.
So it's a teachable moment. But so Microsoft has surpassed Apple that quickly. $100 billion, they caught up that quickly. So do you foresee Microsoft maintaining this lead? And how does this play out for the future of both companies? Do you see Apple reclaiming the position? Does it matter? Is it like just a celebratory thing that, doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things, or is it actually important?
I think it's actually important. Anytime you lose pole position and you're not number one, you have to start to be worried. Some stats around Microsoft. Profit margin, this is a multi-trillion-dollar company, 34% profit margin. Whew, amazing. Operating margin 43%, gross margin 68%, return on assets 19%, institutional ownership 72%. So at a time when Apple is not the innovator, the leader in breaking edge technology, and we have to compare this to Apple is also a consumer-based company that does some enterprise and some B2G. Microsoft does a ton of B2G, ton of enterprise with wider margins. You have to be worried when someone passes you up. This isn't just like some milestone that does not matter. And normally when these companies are number one, and of course for the next year or two, I think they'll go back and forth in terms of market cap. But once again, if they don't innovate, I can see Microsoft keeping that lead. And with the interest in AI, and it's the interesting part, Microsoft hasn't partnered with anybody to make an electronic vehicle, which we can talk about that space later. They have not gotten into healthcare, and they don't have a consumer product that people love. If they actually innovate and make a product that people really love at scale, with the leadership, with Satya just being focused on the business, this could be the era where Microsoft remains dominant for a decade. And I keep saying that if it wasn't for Ballmer, there would be no Microsoft. Kudos to Ballmer and everything that you're doing. I think you're amazing. But he wasn't right for that CEO position, and Gates had a lot to do with that with the infighting. But I think this is probably, and I still love Apple. For everyone who's messaging me like, should I sell Apple? No. But I think we are seeing a passing of the guard, if you will. And most importantly, we need publicly traded companies to build things that actually work and that people need. We don't, and I have 3 of them. We don't need another iPhone 7 upgrade that's called a 15. Microsoft has actually innovated. And then once they got into the AI space, amazing partnership with like that joint venture that they did with OpenAI, and put them in a different category. So if I was Apple, I would be a little bit worried. And Microsoft, as of now, definitely is a better company.
A lot there. There's a lot there. Interesting. I mean, it was short-lived, right? So Apple did go back on top as the number one as far as market cap. But I'm with you. In 2024, I definitely, and we said this 6 months ago when we were looking at the market caps, we were analyzing and saying, based on the forward momentum that Microsoft has, especially with the partnership, like you said, in OpenAI, there's a chance here that they're going to pass them, and that day came. And I think it's gonna be prolonged for a couple of reasons. But I think that AI space is one of them. You mentioned that there hasn't been a product that Microsoft has had, a consumer product. And so I had to. When you said it, I started thinking, like, was there a product? Is Windows the last product? Right? Is that the last thing that people could say that we really loved
in the 90s? That's
in the
crazy.
90s, right? And interestingly enough, what they've now done with OpenAI and creating Copilot, this might be the thing. And so if you look at the numbers on Copilot, I just did quick research on it. Nearly half of Fortune 100 companies have incorporated into their enterprise software already. And so you're talking about large revenue, right? When you're talking about Fortune 100 companies, but they're going to have it for consumers as part of their Office package in this year. What that does now, when you have OpenAI, right, and you have Copilot using that, now you need more cloud space. And so what has been increasing over the past 3 quarters for them? Azure, right? And it's kind of dented in a space where Amazon, AWS is by far the leader. It's cracked a dent in their lead. It's cracked a dent in Google Cloud's lead. And now Azure is that third place player with a lot of momentum. And so if you're looking at these 2 things alone, and last week we talked about it, what's the innovation? What is the thing that Apple will have? And we don't know it yet.
Yeah.
No, the fact that they are already in the lead in this AI space with these mountain factors, I like them for 2024 and maybe for 2025 if we don't see the exact innovation. I know people in the comments, I actually read the comments the other day when we did Market Mondays, and they're like, yeah, people said the same things when Steve Jobs passed. They don't innovate enough. They don't innovate enough. Okay. They had products. They have had products.
But that wasn't true.
Well, this is what the comments were saying, right? They've had products, and yes, right, we've seen what Tim Cook has done, and I mean, there's an argument that he could be when it goes down, right, in history, and we look back, he might have been a greater CEO than Steve Jobs was.
Oh, it's no question. It's
right?
No question. Yeah.
And so now is the time, right? Over the next 12 to 16 months, it's going to be an important time. And I know it's like, it's semantics, right? Your market cap is number 1, ours is number 2. But it means something, right? In those headquarters, right? It means something. And Amazon's right there too. Right. In the past, I think 12 years, there's only been 3 companies that have been in that 1 and 2 spot: Amazon, Apple, and Microsoft. So it definitely means something amongst them. And whoever comes out with the most innovative and is leading in a way of the future, especially for technology, I mean, they get the crown. And I'm sure that people in Apple think about it the same way that Amazon and Microsoft do. Everybody wants to be the top spot.
Yeah, if the enterprise value or the market cap value is the same, Apple's profit margin is 25%, Microsoft is 34%. For a multi-trillion-dollar company, that's like a $100 million business having an 80% profit margin. It does matter. And if they make another acquisition, being Microsoft, that could give them a further lead. It's never a good thing when you have a brand and people are, before it comes out, are saying, I'm not going to buy that product. Even Apple fans are saying, unless it can shoot out laser beams or transport me to Davos or put me in Game of Thrones, I'm not even going to consider it.
Listen, we're here, right? We walk the streets for 2 hours. Every 10 feet, 2 letters are posted all throughout the streets, and it's AI everywhere. AI, every single, it's AI, it's AI. And if we think about AI, especially from the consumer side, who's leading that space? There's no doubt it's Microsoft. There's no doubt, not even a question. So,
but continue to Tech 2 index, no stress. I even remember people saying Microsoft wouldn't have that number 1 spot. Invest in those 2, you'll be good. But I still want the companies that I'm invested in to keep their edge and keep innovating.